Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hangouts with Visionary Leaders, intelligent and engaging discussions with visionaries, thought leaders, and change makers that open us up to a new narrative for our future. Today, we're going to be discussing the concept of evolutionary entrepreneurship with my guest, Lisa Cherney. I'm your host, Lisa Ingalls. I'm a visionary coach. I'm an author, a speaker, and a consultant, and I help people who feel like something's got to give in their life to find their internal compass so that they can make decisions that help them to regain momentum and reawaken or awaken to their highest potential. Now, you can learn more about me and my programs and services by going to www.innerstatecoaching.com. While you're there, you can also pick up my free report on the 5 steps to creating a radical breakthrough. So, we've reached a new era of human possibility. Individual as well as collective leadership is really critical as we navigate our way through these old and outdated paradigms that no longer serve us and moving towards an expanded life and a freer future. Humanity itself, I believe, is on a precipice of a new era of peace, of sustainability, of health, and prosperity. The question really becomes then, will we as a collective choose to commit ourselves to this peace, to declare an end to our own struggle and disharmony, and will we as a collective turn the potential for possibility into probability? And if so, how are we going to do this? These are the types of questions that we bring to the table in this show. We're very, very interested in exploring innovative ideas through engaging discussion that help us to birth this new era of human possibility. So welcome everybody to the show. If you're joining us live, please do let us know you're here. Let us know where you're from. Join in the discussion because, of course, that's what Hangouts are all about, and we want to include you in this discussion. So in today's episode of Hangouts with Visionary Leaders, my guest, Lisa Cherney, is joining me in this discussion about how evolutionary entrepreneurs are rethinking success and setting a new standard for success, one that's replacing these outdated concepts of business. Now, Lisa is the owner of a 7-figure business, and she knows firsthand what it means to rethink your way to success. In September of 2012, she was in the midst of a huge growth spurt in her own business, and she was really struck by this urgent need, as she says it, to improve her inner peace really quickly if she was going to stay on track without losing her sanity, without losing her mind. So with the help of some daily meditation and a daily meditation practice to stay on track, she completely shattered that old myth that being successful in business means that you need to sacrifice your family and your health. Lisa, in fact, is one of my mentors as well, and because of this perspective that she has and her ability to do what she does is why I chose her as one of my mentors. Lisa also is the perfect person for this discussion because she spent 15 years working in corporate America with iconic brands like AT&T, Nissan, Lipton, before she left that corporate world to start her own business called Conscious Marketing, where she helps small business owners to crack the code on their marketing message and build a 6-figure business without losing their sanity. So welcome, Lisa Cherney, to the show today.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm super glad to be here.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think you're the perfect person to have discussing this topic because you are someone that went from a huge corporate world in business, and you did a 180, essentially, to start your own business called Conscious Marketing. I think, people like me, I've always been a solopreneur, I sort of just struggled my way through it, so I have a different perspective. But I'd love to start this discussion just to hear from you, a little bit about your background in this whole corporate arena and the mind shift, the rethinking shift that took place within you to even say, you know what, I'm done with this. I need to move on to something else that's more true to my heart.
Well, I remember the day that I got laid off for the third time in 2 years. And I'm driving down the road, and I get struck by this thought, literally where I was like looking around to see like where the thought came from. And it said, why go to work for someone else when you can work for yourself? That's crazy. I thought that's crazy, especially because my husband had just quit his job as a chemical engineer, which was a six-figure income, to go back to school full-time to be a chiropractor. But in that moment, Lisa, is something woke up in me, and I thought, I started to think about the possibilities of what if I really was in charge of where I put my energy and who benefited from my energy, maybe even me benefiting more than some other company, and what I could really do if I was the master of my destiny. And I think that was my evolutionary entrepreneur like wake up moment. And I remember going home to my husband saying, honey, I need to follow my dream of, being an entrepreneur. And he's like, when did this dream happen? I was like, well, on the 405, about a half hour ago.
Yeah, it's so true. I think what you speak to is something that happens for a lot of people in what I'm calling is an emergence of evolutionary entrepreneurs. I say that they're self-selected people who are going, me. They're having a similar experience to what you said. It's a collective experience that we're saying, you know what? No more. I have bigger things to do in the world, and I have big gifts that I can bring into the world. I think that's what I hear you saying. You're like, oh, me? Okay, I can do that. Right. But how did you overcome? Because I think this is the other piece about maybe a characteristic of an evolutionary entrepreneur is we're faced with this like, holy crap, I'm really gonna do this? Oh God, okay. Then what? Like, what was it for you that gave you the courage to say, yeah, I'm done with this corporate thing. I'm gonna really go for my dream?
I think, in preparing for today's Hangout, one of the things that really struck me about your description of the evolutionary entrepreneur was the idea of the impact that we're making on the planet or the way that we're helping other people. And I think the thing, though, that really had me jumping off that cliff, and you've heard me say, instead of jump off the cliff and the net will appear, just jump off the cliff and the cliff disappears, because now all of a sudden you've done the thing you were worried about the most, and it doesn't seem as scary. And I think the thing that really pushed me, Lisa, honestly, was the thought of taking care of myself. The thought of being able to not work 90 hours a week and fly all over the country all the time and sleep in if I wanted to, or work a Saturday and not work Thursday and Friday. And it really was putting myself first. And I think that is a characteristic of an evolutionary entrepreneur, where you really know that your health and wellness and spiritual fitness must come first in order for you then to be able to serve. So in that moment, that was my deciding point. That's what had me do the super scary thing of being an entrepreneur, was being inspired by the idea of being able to live a life on my terms.
And I think that living a life on my terms, I love that. And I think that fits right into this definition of the evolutionary entrepreneur and how we're expanding the definition of entrepreneur. And I'd love to sort of move into that a little bit, because let's face it, the traditional definition of entrepreneur, I think my mom would say, oh, it's someone who starts their own business to make money, and like I sort of said in the beginning, you compromise your family, you compromise your health, but there is this new definition that is an expanded definition of what it means to be an entrepreneur. And I think it goes beyond, in my opinion, I think it goes beyond just business. Like it actually, being an entrepreneur isn't just about business. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I started to use the phrase mission-driven entrepreneur as the folks that I seem to work with in my conscious marketing business. And those are the folks that struggle most with finding the words to describe what they do and really standing behind, what they do. And I think that's what I feel like what I'm hearing you say is the different kind of entrepreneur is the one that is on a mission, where it is personal, where it is a calling, where something happened in their life that had them go, oh my gosh, I have to do this for people, I have to help people. And there's an intrinsic drive that has people taking a risk and calling themselves an entrepreneur when they may have never thought that that was part of their dream.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny that you say that, because for years and years, I swear to you, for years and years, I'm like, oh, I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just a coach. You know, I just want to help people. I'm just like, then about 3 years ago, I'm like, wait a minute. If I really want to be helping people and doing my work in the world, I sort of have to be an entrepreneur and get my stuff together. And I was like, just to your thing of like, wait, I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur. And I think that is like one of those signs that people have. Oh yeah, I'm one of those too. And yeah, so I think another thing, just in this discussion that you sort of, only because I know you and also you just sort of mentioned it a little bit, is I see more and more often evolutionary entrepreneurs who have a lot of support by people who are very close to them, and oftentimes it's their spouse. In traditional, this is just from my experience, it's not that it's always true, it's not a blanket statement, but my experience is I'm seeing more and more people who have a spouse who is completely supportive of them in what they're doing, and I'm seeing, interestingly enough, some coupling of evolutionary entrepreneurs who are coming together in their missions and maybe and helping each other. I think that, I'm not sure if you've seen that at all, but I think it's something that I've seen as well.
Well, I think that when you are a mission-driven entrepreneur, and it is so much of your life, and sometimes it does mean working longer hours. I mean, I work part-time. I take Mondays, completely off, usually Fridays. And there are times where I'm gone for a weekend. And when I can involve my family in my
Oops, we just, seems like Lisa got stuck there. Let's see if it comes back. All right, we will see if Lisa's internet comes back. It looks like she got stuck and she might drop out and come back in. But let's hear from you guys out there who are viewing. What is your definition of an evolutionary entrepreneur? And go ahead and put that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. What are the things that you're seeing in your own life as an evolutionary entrepreneur that are sort of those signs and symptoms of being an evolutionary entrepreneur? I will bring up Dave Moore's comment. He says, I consider myself an evolutionary entrepreneur. I'm a maverick who believes when someone tells me it can be done. I know that they're telling me that they don't know how to get it done. I find a way or I make a way. We always get things done like that. So thanks for that, Dave. And again, we're just waiting for Lisa. She seems to have frozen up on us, and hopefully will come back in and join us back in live. So as we continue with this discussion of what it means to be an evolutionary entrepreneur and how it affects us, and how as an evolutionary entrepreneur we affect lives, not just as a business, but we're talking about evolutionary entrepreneurs in the sense of personal, social, and global. And I think that I see a lot of that happening in the world as well with evolutionary entrepreneurs. And just looking at some notes here on the side. Sorry, guys. Lisa dropped out. She's going to be hopping back in as we sort of improv here in the middle of a show. And thanks, you guys, for hanging in here. So as we talk about this, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, if you will. What is your idea of evolutionary entrepreneur? What does it mean to you And what does success as an evolutionary entrepreneur mean to you? Because I believe that there's a new meaning of success in the world of business. It's no longer so much about the money thing. There's a much bigger purpose to what we're doing here in the world. And Carrie, let's pull up some definitions here. We got Carrie Roldan says, my definition of evolutionary entrepreneur is driven by helping and collaborating. Absolutely. I think that brings something really big, is the collaboration piece. I love that, Carrie. And she also says lifting others up. And that brings us to that piece of collaboration. As an evolutionary entrepreneur, we're here. It's something that I see quite often, especially here in Google Plus and Google Hangouts, the collaborative spirit that's happening. And it's not just about collaborating in terms of trying to get something out of someone else. So it's a collaborative spirit where it seems like people are coming together, emerging and finding each other and saying, yeah, I want to support you in the effort. Last week we had Wayne Mader on the show, and he has a whole project called A World for Change, and it's something that I'm really interested in supporting him with, sustainability and the sustainability movement. And I have no agenda in that. It's just something that I'm interested in supporting. So it's that collaborative spirit. And I'm going to pull up another comment that I see here. So Dave Moore is saying, do we equate an entrepreneur with multitasking, multiple companies, etc.? So that's a great question, Dave. And actually, I see Lisa hopped back on. There she is.
I love technology. My computer just shut down.
You know, I sort of pulled it to, you know, I held it together.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. I was like, ah!
You know, it's just what happens. It's okay.
Hello, everybody. Google Hangouts is great. Definitely want to do it. No.
I know. You know what, Lisa? As I was sitting here rambling, having my monologue and bringing up
Tap dancing beautifully, I'm sure.
Yeah. What do you think that success really means to an evolutionary entrepreneur? How is the definition of success expanding?
I'm so glad you asked that. And, you know, we're going to talk about a new movement that I'm leading in a couple weeks here called Meditate Your Way to Millions. And it's because of the redefinition of success. Mm-hmm. Of the mission-driven entrepreneur, conscious entrepreneur, you know, the entrepreneur that is not just selling widgets, right, blindly just to count the money.
Right.
There is a redefinition that it isn't just about the money, that it is about the money, but just the money is not happiness. And I've talked with several seven-figure business owners that got to that mark. You know, they all want 7 figures, and if your goal is 6 figures, awesome. That's a huge milestone. And I've talked with a lot of people that are at 7 figures going, this is it? You know, I'm here, and this is it? And wait, my relationship is suffering, and my kids are wondering where I am, and I'm working too much, and it's, you know, it's not really feeding my soul. And so it does become a redefinition of success, and that's what happened for me. You mentioned in 2012 when that was my first 7-figure year, and I thought, this is not feeling fun, and I don't want to get there really feel like I, you know, like I'm out of integrity. And so it had me, you know, seek out meditation and other spiritual practices, right? Spiritual practices that help me to create success. Yeah.
I was looking at the comments here, so I was sort of, excuse me, as I it was like
you're always multitasking a little bit.
I know. Maybe that's another piece of being an evolutionary entrepreneur. But I think that piece brings up something really fundamental, which is what is the internal drive and motivation. Money is an external motivator, and in the end, yeah, we need it and to do our work in the world. And I think that the money piece is a sign and a symbol of, yeah, you're doing great work in the world, and this is sort of an outcome, a symptom, if you will, of having done your work in the world. And this piece of our internal motivation, I know for me, I'm less and less, like you said, I'm noticing that money is less and less my goal. I'm just like, oh my God, I know I can do this thing and that thing, and I'm excited to do this. So it's a very different type of inner motivation, being driven by something much different than what the old definition of entrepreneur. I'm curious to hear too for you guys out there what it means. I'm going to pull up a comment from Kim Carpenter who says, for me it means that there's care for people and the planet as well as profit, taking responsibility for how your business impacts others. Absolutely brilliant comment there from Kim. So, and I'll actually bring up one more comment from Dave who says, live without a safety net, the only way to fly. I love that. Oops, now I'm accidentally pressing buttons all over the place. Scott says, JIP, joining in progress. As a recent reluctant entrepreneur, what advice might you have for those of us who come to the table as a blank slate? Lisa.
Lisa me?
Lisa you, Lisa C, not Lisa E.
Coming to the table as a blank slate. Oh, I love that. And I love that you're calling yourself a blank slate, because, you know, a lot of people say, well, I'm starting from scratch and I'm starting from just the beginning. And the thing is that nobody as an entrepreneur is. You're bringing to the table all of yourself, all of your experience, all of the struggle that you've had. You're bringing your inspiration for what is even having you start your business in the first place. And I think, you know, it's interesting. When I was interviewing the teachers for Meditate Your Way to Millions, which I'm just still blown away with the interviews that are happening, I asked them, and I'm so excited to hear some of the answers, what I haven't asked them yet, but I asked them, what was the turning point that had you make spiritual practice a priority? Or was it always part of, you know, and they all have these amazing, touching, shocking stories. And I think, do we have to wait until there is this, you know, do we have to do that? Do we have to, and in some cases I believe that's our path, because then we're using that in our business, you know, where that's what we're teaching or that's what we're helping other people with. So when you're a clean slate, one thing I want to say is you can think of yourself as a clean slate, but bring all you got to the table, because that's what's going to make you unique. That's what you want to put in your marketing. You know, that's what's going to have you feel at home.
It's the beginner's mind almost. Clean slate is, I know I came from that of like, clean slate, beginner's mind, I'm open. It's a great place to come from. And I'm going to pull up another comment here. Alan says, are evolutionary entrepreneurs moving into more of a cooperation, I think is what he means, era instead of competition era of business, where businesses are teaming up to provide solutions to new and more complex problems? I think yes. What do you think, Lisa?
I do. In fact, the Meditate Your Way to Millions masterclass is an actual product of me being in cooperation or cooperation with folks that I could consider competition, but we met at different masterminds and different gatherings, and I said to them, hey, I'm doing this thing, and I think it's going to give entrepreneurs permission to be spiritual in their business, and it's also going to show them that you guys that are making millions have this as a priority, even though you're not talking about it. And they're like, I'm on it. I'm on board. So it's actually, that's what I'm most excited about talking about it, because I really do believe it's the collection of teachers that have come together is an actual evidence of the evolutionary entrepreneur and that collaboration of mission.
I think that collaboration is huge. It's something we see a lot here, and I was saying that actually while you were out of the room for a little bit. It's something that one of the reasons why I was so drawn to Google Plus and to the Hangout arena is because of the vibe of cooperation and collaboration and people wanting to help each other. It's like no agenda behind it, even in some senses of what I've seen. Just people are, again, as I would say, self-selecting and saying, I support your movement, and I see how it tangentially relates to my movement and what my message is, and whoa, if we're to come together and help each other, we can be even more powerful in this space. So I think that in this world of evolutionary entrepreneurship, that collaboration and cooperation, if you want to call it that, is vital to the evolution of our planet, of humanity, of just us personally as well.
I agree.
Yeah, and I know we're running down on time, and you've mentioned several times about the meditate your way to millions, and I think that it represents something that is quite new and hasn't been done yet, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about what meditate your way to millions is. And before I do that, I'm going to pre-warn everybody that I'm going to use something new and try something new out here in this Hangout, which is the Showcase app, which allows me to share some stuff with you. So I'm crossing my fingers that as Lisa shares this with you, that I'm going to use this new app. So I'm just putting it out there. We're trying something new as Lisa shares. So
that's what about you, Lisa Engels, always innovating in your love for Google Hangouts. So, it's a free event. Meditate Your Way to Millions Masterclass is a free event. And I've assembled 12 teachers that are successfully infusing spiritual practice in their business to skyrocket their results. And I'd love for you to meet them and learn from them. If spirituality and success on your terms, money and also fulfillment is a priority for you, please join us. And when you do, you also get an instant free report, which I'm super excited about. It's called the 12 Spiritual Strategies to Skyrocket Your Results. Free report right away, and each of the teachers contributed to it. And some of the things that they contributed are their own personal rituals and things that they discovered along the way that they don't really, share readily. So couple reasons to go to meditateyourwaytomillions.com/Lisa E. Lisa with the letter E on the end for Lisa Engels. Meditate your way to tomillions.com/Lisa E. And you'll go there, you'll get the free report, the 12 strategies to skyrocket your profits, and you'll also get access to the masterclass, which is happening next week. And it's a 3-day live virtual event. We're going to be ending it with a hangout. And it's become a movement. People are thanking me for having this conversation, and there's going to be lots of talk about meditation and spiritual practice for connecting, but the conversation is evolutionary, and I'd love for you to join us.
And if I did it correctly, everybody should be seeing on your screen the link that Lisa already said, so you don't even need to type anything. You can actually just click the link. If I did it right, I don't know. You guys can leave a quick comment in the comment box. I appreciate everybody letting me experiment on you with the new app. But hey, why not? I mean, I thought what a better time to try it out when Lisa has this great.
Click it, test it out, get your free report and your access, and join us and converse with us, and we're going to end the whole thing with a hangout. We're going to get to meet a bunch of the teachers and ask questions, and Lisa will be producing the hangout, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And I do want to say, you guys, for those of you who don't know Lisa, like she said, she's going to be doing a hangout at the end of this. So I want to put it out there that Lisa is new to our community, to the Google Hangouts and Google Plus community, and it's something that her eyes opened up to as an evolutionary entrepreneur, maybe this is something that would benefit the work that I'm doing. So she is definitely someone I would say you need to be connected to, because she's doing amazing work in the world. I wouldn't pick a mentor who I didn't think was amazing, of course. So You can find her also on Google Plus, just at Lisa Cherney, plus Lisa Cherney, and circle her. Because you need to be following her, you need to be knowing what she's doing in the world. And I see her like circling her face.
Like that?
Yeah, I like that. Circle your face, girl.
I'm watching too many of those reality shows where they're like, vote for me, you know?
Yeah. You're all. Lisa,
yeah, right, exactly.
LC. I can be the LE.
LE, yeah.
All right. Woo! My goofiness totally coming out. All right, that's another quality maybe of evolutionary entrepreneurs is they can be really goofy and okay with people seeing how weird they are.
I'm very weird. I tell my 8-year-old all the time, we're just weird, and she says, I like being weird.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, okay, we will also post that link into the comments there after we're done with the Hangout here, and I want to thanks Lisa, and I also want to thank Lisa for showing up today and for hanging in there through the little technical glitches. I think we still got some a good hangout in today. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us on Hangouts with Visionary Leaders.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me. Nice meeting everybody.
And thanks to everybody out there who showed up and who contributed to this Hangout. Really, it is about you. It's about the community. It's not about us telling you things. What we're interested in is your contribution. It's all of us coming together to have these discussions that make this platform what it is, something that can allow us to evolve and to do good things for the awakening of human and social potential. I really do believe that despite the challenges that we face as a whole in humanity, that we're an inherently resourceful and innovative species. I like to think that. And when we do come together and have these intelligent discussions and engaging conversations like this one, we actually become the solution and we move forward into a new era of human possibility. So thanks again, everybody, for showing up. And as one final reminder, you can learn more about me and my programs and services over at www.interstatecoaching.com. Bye for now, and we will put that link as well into our comments. See you next time.